State your name and prison number.
Clarence Hogan. Prison number SQ-201-37.
Your age?
24.
Charges on which you were convicted, Hogan?
Cattle rustling. And being an accessory to a murder.
Sentence now being served.
You want the original sentence or the one now?
Both, if you will.
First, I was sentenced 10 to 30 years. The case was appealed, and I got 5 to 10 years. That's what I'm serving now.
All right, proceed.
I served 3 years and 5 months so far, and now I'm up for parole.
Up for Parole. Tonight, another in the exciting crime series based on authentic cases actually heard by the parole boards in our state prisons, reenacted here for the first time. And now, Harry Marvel.
You are about to sit in judgment on another human being's freedom, to decide whether he shall become your neighbor, your employee, perhaps your friend, or whether he shall remain where you, society, have put him, behind prison bars. For that human being is a social offender, a criminal. Now, up for parole. The story you are about to hear was taken from the prison records of Clarence Hogan, prison number SQ-201-37, now pleading before the parole board and before you,
Hogan,
for his
before
freedom.
you start your story, what do they call you?
Hogan. Clarence Hogan.
Don't they call you Rough-em-up Hogan?
That's just ranch talk. That's because I know how to rope and tie and bust broncos.
Couldn't be because you know how to rope and tie and bust men, could it?
I told you why.
Hogan, you hate this board, don't you? You hate this prison. You hate every human being on earth, don't you, Hogan? Except maybe yourself.
I thought I was supposed to come before this board to make a statement.
This board is interested in that statement, Hogan.
What do you want me to say?
When I asked you before what you were in prison for, you answered cattle rustling. It's quite an achievement, isn't it? There hasn't been a case of cattle rustling in this state in 20 years. You're proud of your handiwork. Is that what you're trying to tell this board?
If I had to do it over again, I'd do it.
Revenge, is that it? Striking back at the world for what the world did to you? According to you, people are pretty lousy, aren't they, Hogan?
You said it, Mr. Chairman. I didn't.
But you think it's true. Because of what was done to you in those first 17 years of your life, you think you've got a right to step on people, steal from them, be an accessory to a murder, anything.
You don't let a guy alone, do you? Guy's got to turn himself inside out before you let him alone.
You were an orphan, Hogan, weren't you? Brought up in the county orphan's home? There wasn't much to eat, was there? And the place that you slept in was cold.
Quit it. It's got to be told, okay. I'll tell it my own way. All my life, my whole life, I had a number. I had a number when I was 2 months old. Now I'm SQ-201-37. Then I was baby boy T317. Why they had me, my mother and father, I don't know, but they did. They left me at the county orphanage when I was 2 months old. And at the orphanage, you eat what they give you, you sleep in whatever kind of bed they give you, and you wear other kids' clothes. That's all you can remember. The years roll by, and then one day you wake up and you're 15. Paid us 10 cents a week, and in 15 years, I'd saved enough to buy a second-hand pair of jeans. The only thing worth anything at the orphanage was they had 2 horses. When I could, I rode. I learned everything there was to learn about horses, and I had that. Then Lynch came that day to pick out a son. Once a month, foster parents came to adopt us. Lynch came that month. Mr. Harry B. Lynch.
All
right, boys. Now line up. No fidgeting. Mr. Lynch has kindly come and is going to adopt one of you. Take you to his fine ranch in the valley. He's going to be a real father to one of you.
He came walking down the line of us quiet, frightened kids with their hair combs, sweating, hoping to be picked. Hoping we'd get out of the home.
Now, there's a fine boy, Mr. Lynch. Poor but honest parents who died. He's a very fine lad. Of course, Mr. Lynch, if you have something in mind.
Like a general walking down in front of his troops. Or like a horse trainer in front of stallions. Looking at the mane, the withers, and at the teeth.
Who's this?
Tell Mr. Lynch your name.
Clarence?
Your manners, Clarence.
Sir?
Does he ride?
One of my best, Mr. Lynch.
What does he weigh?
Clarence?
159, sir.
Pretty big for 17.
I'm 18, sir.
He's a good, strong boy.
Does he steal, drink, run after women?
None of our boys are like that, sir.
Okay.
I found out pretty quick how it all worked. The county paid foster fathers $12 a month to take us off the county rolls. For that $12, we belonged to Harry B. Lynch. There were 5 of us, and we were his sons, all from the orphanage. The bunkhouse where we slept was the orphanage all over again. 5 beds in a room big enough for 2. Same smell, the same handouts, the same cast-offs, but with a difference. One of my brothers, a kid named Jerry, let me in on it in the bunkhouse.
Did you get the speech yet?
What speech?
Didn't the old man give you the speech when he brought you over?
Well, he didn't say a word to me the whole way over. He just sat in the car driving.
He's saving it.
Look, I've been 18 years in that orphanage. This don't bother me. Nothing bothers me. This is good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm here 2 years now. I lost 21 pounds.
It's your own place. You work, don't you? You got your own time and no bed checking at night.
He didn't make the speech to you, all right.
Outside, Jerry.
Yes, sir, Mr. Lynch.
Hogan, I like my boys to stand up when I walk into the room.
I'm sorry, sir.
All right, stand up now.
Yes, sir.
There's 200 head of cattle on this ranch and 40 milk cows. There's a lot of land and a lot of fences, and I want them just so. I want everything just so. You'll get up at 4 and report to milking detail. Then you'll ride the range till 7 on fences. Then chow. The morning and afternoons will be watching the herd, helping out with the broncos if you can. You'll learn it. Evening chow is 5 o'clock. Bed is 8.
You didn't say about lunch, Mr. Lynch.
My hands work on 2 meals a day. I'm not getting $1 million from the county to take care of you. You know that. One more thing. No drinking. No swearing. No gambling. And as you've already heard, I'm sure, from these other no-good loafers around here, you'll address my daughter as ma'am. You'll only answer when spoken to. By her.
I didn't know you had a daughter, sir.
Don't you lie to me. That's all this bunkhouse talks about. Letty.
Honestly, I didn't
said
even
you'll
know...
talk to her only when spoken to. If we understand each other, Hogan, there'll be no trouble. Now get out on the ranch. We lost a half hour already. See the foreman.
Well, I was stupid, gentlemen of the board.
What do you mean, Hogan? You were stupid.
Well, that first night after I came back to the bunkhouse tired, Jerry said to me, "You're going to stick it out. Ain't you going to run away?" I laughed at him. He tried to run away. All of them tried to run away.
Why did you laugh?
Because nothing Lynch said bothered me. The main thing was that I was out of that orphanage. Okay, it was hard work. Okay, you were treated like a dog, but still in all, it wasn't the orphanage. It was a home. And he was my father. Strict, sure, but I figured maybe he had his reasons.
And there was another reason, wasn't there? Why you stayed?
That's right. One morning I was chopping kindling wood for the Brandon fires.
You handle that like you know what you're doing.
An axe splitting the logs, a good sound.
I've been watching you, Clarence. You're not like the rest of the boys in the bunkhouse.
They're okay, Miss Letty.
I watched you ride, too. You can ride.
What I like to do, I do that the best. You shouldn't be talking to me, should you? Your father told me...
I can handle my father. But I wish he'd stop what he does. He treats the boys like dirt, even you. He's got no right to treat people like that. I told him to stop. For years I've been telling him.
Then why do you stay? You don't have to stay. Don't get too close, Miss Letty. A chip might hit you.
I stayed because he's my father, I guess. Because with everything wrong with him, I want to change him, and he's my father.
That's why he don't bother me. That's why nothing here really bothers me.
Clarence, you know the far ranch out past the wooded section?
Sure.
Would you meet me there tonight?
Oh, you know about bed check. I gotta be in the bunkhouse.
He's going to town tonight. I'd like it if you would. Over here, Clarence.
I shouldn't ought to be here.
A night like this? Even out here, you don't see nights like this too often.
That's what I was trying to tell you before. The work don't matter. You can ride. You can breathe. You can feel you're somebody, not a number.
You're a funny kid.
You're a pretty funny kid yourself.
What are your plans, Clarence?
I don't know. Make something out of things. Get a piece of land and a few head of cattle. Horses. Not a lot, but... That sound crazy?
No. No, that sounds Do you hear that? That's his horse. Get out of here, Clarence. Get on your horse and beat it.
I'm not going anywhere. I did it. I'll face it.
I won't let you. You didn't see me if he asked you.
What are you doing here? You thought I was in town. You thought there wouldn't be any bed check. Who was that rode off?
That was Letty, Mr. Lynch.
Oh, it's Letty now, huh? You have the brass to just stand there and say that to me?
Don't do that again, Mr. Lynch.
Maybe you didn't read the papers on which you came to this ranch. You're my ward, Hogan. I have the right to discipline you in any way I see fit. And when you break every rule that I lay down, that slap was nothing.
You're right. I should have been in bed.
That's right. Try that smooth, polished stuff on me. You're different. You fooled her because she's a kid and doesn't know any better. But inside that mind of yours, I know what's going on. You don't fool me for a second. And I'm going to teach you, Hogan, that I mean it.
I told you don't do that. I can't stand that.
Go me.
Nobody likes to be slapped. Nobody. Not even an orphan.
For the love of heaven.
I could kill you, Mr. Lynch. Easy as that. But I don't want to. Up to now, I thought maybe I could get a father out of all this. A home. But I was wrong. Because you're rotten, Mr. Lynch. You made everybody else rotten. So I ain't gonna kill you. Not now or never.
Get out of here.
I'm gonna get out of here. And I'm coming back after I'm somebody. And I'm gonna take your daughter away. If she'll have me. You're so rotten, Mr. Lynch, that if I stayed here with you, I'd get rotten, too. Then there's no telling what I'd do. So I'm clearing out. But you ain't seen the last of me! You see, gentlemen of the board, you may not understand it. I wanted to like Mr. Lynch. But he wouldn't give me a chance.
Mm-hmm. Those are fine words, Hogan. Only you didn't mean them, did you?
Yes, I did, Mr. Chairman. I meant them.
Yes, you meant them so much that within the next year you committed the offenses for which you were sentenced. That's how much you wanted to like him or anybody else.
I tell you, I wanted to like him. I didn't want to feel that way about people, but it was no good, that's all. Well, Jerry helped me pack my clothes, and then the two of us, and Jerry always wanted to go, we moved. We went up north. And that's where I saw the sign that got me started on something else. Something I really liked.
Hey, look! Roping, tying, busting broncos. $500 prize.
That was the first of the rodeos I went into, and I'll say this for old Lynch. Whatever else he did, he made me learn how to ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event. The grand prize winner, $500 cash award. The Grass Valley Roundup. Clarence Rough 'em Up Hogan.
We did great. California, Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming. Riding, tying, busting, roping. I got famous. Kind of. Well known, anyhow. Girls would go after me. But all the time, I kept my mind on, well, Lynch and Letty. Especially Letty. When I went back there, it'd be in a car. A convertible, red, with a horn on it that he'd hear a half a mile away. And I wouldn't be no ranch hand. I'd be somebody. Somebody to make his eyes pop.
Here it is, Clarence. Listen to this in the papers. Announcing the annual Ogden Rodeo. Special prize, the Walt Petrie Award for Best All-Around Rider in the show. Guess how much?
Come on, Jerry, how much?
$7,500.
Let's see if we can get that $7,500. So I went to Ogden, Utah, gentlemen of the board. The biggest single rodeo in the West. Everybody was there.
And you won it.
That's right. I was riding, roping, and the rest, not for the money. I wanted that too, sure, but because this was the one thing that I was waiting for all my life. A chance to do what I could do the best. And a chance to use it to show Lynch he was wrong about me. And to be able to ask Letty to marry me. But I was a starry-eyed kid. I didn't know what lice people could be.
You explain that?
I'll be glad to. Well, Petrie was one of those big, nice, smiling guys. Walt Petrie, the fellow who sponsored the $7,500 prize, a promoter. He paid me off in $100 bills.
You sure you don't want a guard, cowboy? It's an awful lot of money to be walking around with.
Nope. I can take care of myself.
Well, best luck, son.
So, in Ogden, right there, first thing I did was plunk down $3,000 for a red convertible with a horn you could hear half a mile away. And Jerry and me started. What a day. Roads going as far as you could see, and us going 60, 65 to the ranch 2 miles south of Lynch's. Blowing the horn even when nobody was around, just to hear it. And just like that, a car was parked across the road in front of us. And 2 guys walked out from behind some trees.
All right, fellas, outside. Keep your hands on top of your heads.
What's the idea?
You ain't very bright, are you? Where's the money? Come on, hand it over.
Hey, what is this?
Here it is. All right, both of you. Over in those trees. Start walking.
What? Ain't you even going to leave us the car? How are we going to get out of here?
You got no place to go, so start walking.
You dirty lice.
Did you see who the other fellow was?
No, who?
I saw. The one who didn't talk, that phony handkerchief around his face. I could see him.
Who?
Walt Petrie. Big promotion man. Biggest prize in the West, $7,500. Give it out at the rodeo. Get your name in the paper. Then take it away on a road with nobody around. Petrie and Lynch. They must be brothers or something.
And, Hogan, that was the time that you decided to start your revenge, wasn't it?
All I wanted was to get my money back, and I didn't care how.
So you found out that Petrie had a ranch, 3,000 head of cattle. And you got a job on a ranch nearby his.
That's right. And if it hadn't have been for what happened, I'd have got it all back, too.
Just exactly what did happen?
The ranch where we worked was a little place, not too much to do. And there was a van on it, the kind they transport cattle in. And every night, me and Jerry, every night around 9:10, we'd go out where Petrie's herd was, back up the van, and shoot 2-3 cows in it. 2 or 3 of Mr. Petrie's best white-faced cows. They were bringing 600 a head. I figured to take 13 head, just what he stole from me. We got about 8 head. And then one night...
Okay there, girlie. Come on. Right up the gangplank. Let's go. Clarence.
Stay right where you are, both of you.
Well, in this day and age, cattle rustling, huh?
I don't think taking back what belongs to me is cattle rustling, Petrie.
I heard your story, Hogan. Tough how after you won the prize, somebody stuck you up, took it away from you.
I'll show you. Jerry, I got the gun. You shot him. I don't think he's dead. Now I'm going to kill him.
I didn't even try to get away, and I didn't let Jerry run. What was the point? A couple of Petrie's men were nearby, and they saw it anyhow. So we walked in and gave ourselves up to the sheriff.
And the trial resulted in your conviction for rustling, being an accessory to the murder.
Well, Jerry took a plea of guilty to manslaughter, and I was sentenced along with him. What put the finishing touches to it was Lynch.
I didn't know Lynch was at the trial. It's not on the record.
He was at the trial, all right. All I had to go on at the trial was my word that Petrie had stolen the money from me and he'd attacked us with a gun. Well, Lynch fixed it good. He testified all along I was a troublemaker. I was no good. I'd been after his daughter. I'd nearly killed him and... Well, the judge gave me 10 to 30 years.
You're a pretty bitter man, Hogan.
What did you expect?
Shall I be frank with you? I expected a lot more. You told this board when you first came before it that you want nothing from anybody. That you make your own way in the world. That people are rotten and selfish. All of them.
All except Letty.
Yet all along you've met other kinds of people. There was Jerry, and there was the judge in your case. You yourself said it. When the appeal was made on your sentence, he reduced it from 10 to 30 years to 5 to 10 years. And yet you persist in your attitude, condemning everyone.
I said before, maybe I was stupid, maybe I still am. But I don't want anything from anybody. I want to do my time. I've done a good job in this prison. I know it. The warden's told me so. And I want to get out. I'll ride again. I'll do whatever I have to do. Win prizes again, maybe. And I'm going to go back to Lynch's farm. Walk in, take Letty, and walk out. And there's nothing you can say or anybody else in the world that's going to change my mind.
And do you think that with a statement like that, this board should grant you parole?
Mr. Chairman, I don't want anything from anybody.
All right, Hogan. We'll decide your case now. Step outside with the guard.
While Clarence Hogan waits and the parole board reviews his story, you too have a decision to make. In a moment, you can compare your decision with that of the actual parole board before which he appeared. Now, the decision of the parole board in the case of Clarence Hogan, prison number SQ 201-37.
Clarence Hogan, you said before that you don't want anything from anybody. That correctly states your attitude.
That's right, sir.
This is an attitude, Hogan, common not only among inmates of prisons throughout the United States, but among many people who have never been arrested, never even tangled with the law. It's the attitude of dog eat dog. The devil take the hindmost. Let me try to tell you something, Hogan. Let me try to tell you how I well, how this board feels. You know, you said something that moved me personally a great deal, Hogan. You said, I had a number all my life. Let's look at that life for a moment, shall we? The orphanage where you were raised lacked funds, lacked proper officials, lacked facilities, as so many of our orphanages still do. And here again, what basis was there for you to learn that the give and take among humans is what distinguishes this society from animals? Lynch, a cruel, selfish, unenlightened man. Petrie, a man who lived the jungle code and died by that same code. These were the influences that shaped you. This was our contribution to the making of Clarence Hogan. For the way we see it, it isn't you alone who were indicted and convicted and sentenced, but us too, the people who made you as you are today. And what are you, Hogan? Do you know?
What do you mean?
You're a man with enormous ability, with enormous drives which are worthy, and they're decent. You know, it goes to show you how much a human being can take and still not be thoroughly corrupted. Of course, what you did was wrong, the rustling, your part in the shooting of Petrie, but you know, it hasn't made you rotten. And what saved you all along was the fact that you met decency now and then. From Jerry and from Letty. And I certainly hope that you can add to that small list of decent people in your life this board.
I'd like to believe what you just said.
You can, Hogan. Because speaking for this board, I can now say to you, parole granted. Next case.
Today, Clarence Hogan is married to Letty Lynch, and he is now the foreman of a successful ranch in one of our western states. Yes, it's a fact that through the wisdom and understanding of the parole board, Clarence Hogan has been able to uproot the bitterness that had slowly become a part of him, and because he was given a second chance, like many thousands upon thousands of ex-convicts, he was able to adjust himself and become a useful, responsible citizen again. This story was presented in the interests of the men and women in our American prisons who someday may be up for parole.
You have been listening to Up for Parole with Cliff Carpenter as Clarence Hogan, written by Arnold Pearl, produced and directed by Mitchell Grayson, researched by Wally Gould. Music was under the direction of Harry Salter.